Ooh, what's up, guys? That guy with the pencil here. So, I was just chilling, rereading the manga, looking for some information and trying to figure out a few things about how strong some characters are in comparison to other characters, and I realized something. The two strongest clans, at least at the time of the Holy War, the Demon Clan and the Goddess Clan, were super unbalanced and not in the way you might think. So let's chat about the Holy War and what would have happened if both clans truly went to battle without their leaders, because I want to talk about that separately. So, demons versus goddesses. The Goddess Clan is vastly outnumbered in terms of proper combatants. The heavyweight players of the Goddess Clan are really the four Archangels and the Goddess Elizabeth. You have lesser ones like the Divine Lance Corporals, Jelliman and Nerobasta, and beings below them, such as other members of the Divine Militia, like Jenna and Zaneri, who are Divine Soldiers. And we know there are many of those lower tier fighters, but then you have the Demon Clan. You have Meliodas, Zeldris, the Ten Commandments, Cusack and Chandler, the Six Knights of Black, all the lesser demons from White to Copper, and Albions. This basically means that the Goddess Clan is wildly outnumbered and honestly, to a degree, outpowered. So, admittedly, Mael, Ludishel, Elizabeth, and even Tarmiel and Sariel are pretty crazy. You got the lesser two archangels making entire dimensions with their graces and slapping around middle tier commandment fighters like Galen and Fraudrin, Ludishel fighting on par with the original demon, and blitzing and bodying Monspeet and Derriere in their base forms, and Elizabeth holding back two monstrous Endura at the same time, and modern human Elizabeth being able to box with a freshly transformed Demon King Zeldris with no magic. And, of course, we all know Prime Mael was a match for Prime Meliodas, at least that's what's said. And then, they're all strong, and that's great for them. However, what it really comes to is the fact that the Demon Clan has some serious monsters on their end too, and they have the numbers. You got even lower tier commandments like Galen and Fraudrin being able to tag and even bisect lesser archangels. Higher tier commandments like Derriere and Monspeet being able to compete with the lesser tier archangels head to head, fighting on par in base. Then they have their amped Endura states, they're able to smack around a true body Ludishel. And then you have the strongest of the commandments like Meliodas, who are on par with Prime Mael. Then you have the non-commandments like Chandler and Cusack, who while at their peaks are able to casually dominate Margaret body Ludishel, fight on par with pre-Demon King fight Merlin and Escanor, and once fused to their original state are able to fight with Astral Body Ludishel and slap around Escanor and Merlin. Then to go even higher, you have Zeldris, who is a mini Demon King that was able to fight on par with Full Wings King from a distance, also slap around Late Morning Escanor and Merlin, and fight on par with Afternoon Mael and proceed to blitz him while heavily fatigued. Power-wise, the two clans are around equal at their peaks, it's just the Demon Clan is far more numerous, at least from what we've seen. Speed-wise, it's much of the same. Mid-tier commandments are still able to tag lesser archangels, higher-tier commandments are able to react to and attack lesser archangels, and in their amp states, they're able to blitz the strongest at normal archangel, which is True Body Ludishel, and massively outspeed the lesser archangels. Admittedly, the Endura do seem to be outsped by the Goddess Elizabeth, but you could argue that Zeldris and the original demon could tie her if you don't want to think that. You have Prime Meliodas, who is a match for the Goddess Clan's strongest fighter, Mael, which makes him faster than her. Even technique-wise, the Demon Clan is pretty hacked in comparison to the Goddess Clan as a whole. They, being the Goddess Clan, can fly, regenerate, and seal other beings while possessing some beings with their consent. And while the Goddess Clan does have their light-based attacks that are super effective on Demon Clan members, it's shown that the stronger a demon is, the less that matters. Then you have the Graces, which give water and wind manipulation, and among other things. But even the perks of them have been shown to be surpassed and negated by enough darkness. Then you have the separate realms that grace-wielding goddesses can just pop out when they want to, and they can trap demons in them. However, it is shown that if you are stronger than the Goddess Clan member wielding the grace, you're able to bust out of those dimensions. Then you have their attacks like Ruby Shining, Water Pillar, and others, but these are just regular attacks and not really hacks. Elizabeth can speak directly to a person's heart and manipulate empathy, but it's never been shown to work on beings equal to or stronger than her, only lesser demons. The Demon Clan, on the other hand, they can fly, they can regenerate, seal people, steal souls, transform into massively more powerful versions of themselves with a sacrifice of 6 hearts if they are a demon with a power level of over 50,000, and a lot of them have access to the regeneration negating Purgatory Flame, and all can use dark matter to make constructs like weapons and wings. And that's just the basic hexes that a lot of them have access to. You got people like Zeldris, who's immune to all magic used against him. You got Grey Road, who can erase all 5 senses. You got Melascula, who can reanimate the dead and trap people in orbs that only have max power Zeldris with the Demon King's might and Assault Mode Meliodas could bust out of. You got both Gother, technically, in all their mind haxes, and then you have the regular commandments, but those don't really do anything as they're just power amps in the scenario against the Archangels. However, against all other goddesses, including possibly Elizabeth, that means there's instant death through killing another person, the inability to fight due to hate in your heart, and the inability to turn your back on some people because that means you submit to their control. All around, the Demon Clan is just stupidly more haxed and dangerous, as even the weakest of them can do something as dangerous as a soul rip on a lower goddess. But those are really the abilities and power for the top tiers. How is the fodder v the fodder? So Demon Clan fodder is typically way above Goddess Clan fodder, as the weakest demons are admittedly trash with power levels of 150, but there are multiple Albions, all have a power level of 5,500, which is beyond 2 regular Divine Soldiers like Zanari and Jenna, and when you know that Divine Lance Corporals like Jelma and Narabasta are way beneath Commandments, so even if they can handle Copper Demons and Albions, you can just easily have a higher caliber fighter that's just wandering around the battlefield, drop down and slap them, especially considering each high-level Goddess Clan fighter does have a match. Mael has Meliodas, Elizabeth has Zeldris, Ludishel has Monspeed and Derriere, and let's just throw Gallon and Fraudrin in there for support. Tarmiel has Chandler, Sariel has Cusack. That leaves 5 actual commandments, a commandment tier fighter, strong demons, and numerous powerful fodder, all just idling about. Even if none of the demons fighting the strong Goddess Clan win, it won't take long for Melascula, Grey Road, both Gothers, Kalmadios, and the 2 other original commandments that Meliodas killed, and all the 6 Knights of Black to absolutely clean up the Goddess fodder alongside the demon fodder. And that means the remaining Archangels and Elizabeth are going to get ganged by possibly 8, more like 13 commandment tier fighters. And then all the demon fodder literally just watches as the goddesses get overwhelmed. But now let's actually break down the big hefty battles. For full context, when I say Demon Clan versus Goddess Clan, I mean I'm taking all these characters minus their leaders and slapping them on a battlefield and sending them to a war. 2 sides ready to fight. To make it fair for the Goddess Clan, it's daytime, late noon for Mael. If they're fighting at night, Demon Clan easy stomped. Nighttime doubles the demon's base power according to Chandler, and Mael would have no sunshine amp. Now, for the fodder versus the fodder, I'd say it goes to the Demon Clan for the most part, until you get to the Divine Lance Corporals on the Goddess side, since they're proven stronger than Grey Demons and Red Demons, so technically the fodder for the Goddess Clan wins. But then again, any of the Idol Knights of Black, like Belian and the Idol Commandments, drop down and kill them all. So that's really it for the Goddess Clan fodder. Moving on. So Sariel is strong, right? But like Cusack, bro, Derriere in base punched through Sariel's tornado shield and pierced his eye. This is true body Sariel, by the way. Now, may I remind you that Cusack is so strong that upon being freshly released, he was stated alongside Chandler to make up for the loss of 9 commandments. Then, in his true transform state, he scales directly to a Flash Margaret Body Ludishel, Late Morning Escanor, and Post Infinity Merlin, all of whom scale above True Body Ludishel, who's being fought on par with, if not slightly above, Demon Mark Derriere in base, and full-size Fraudrin. Sariel gets stomped even in his true body because Cusack is just far above anyone Sariel has fought before. The only way you could hypothetically give it to Sariel is if you say that, oh, well, it may be possible that Sariel has some technique he can use that Cusack can't just break through and or ignore. And I think Cusack's weakness is wind, so that could work out in Sariel's favor, but I think it's just the sheer power gap that comes between the two. Like, human body Sariel is around 88k because he was fighting against a 2 commandment Estarossa. It was either 2 or 3 commandment Estarossa, and he was doing okay. He was surviving. But then you have the fact that Cusack just normally sits around at 168,000. So unless you want to imply that Sariel got over twice as strong somehow in his true body, even though it seems like he was performing better against a weaker. He was performing better against that Estarossa than he was against Derriere and Monspeed. Actually, no, he was performing worse. Never mind. I think you can't really argue Sariel being stronger than Cusack, or really even in the same ballpark of power, because Cusack would absolutely dominate base Derriere based off power levels and their respective statements in comparison to one another. So yeah, you can't really give it to Sariel on this one, even in his true body. And the same thing goes for Tarmiel. Chandler's out here at half power, fighting 4 of the 7 deadly sins, post their respective training and power-ups, except for Bond in that instance, in base. Then he transforms and slaps around Gloxinia and Dolor, who are 2 very strong fighters who are like towards that middle, leaning towards upper commandment tier. Later on, he's fighting well against a late morning Escanor, post-Infinity Merlin, and Margaret Body Ludichel. He is stronger than half of he is the stronger half of the original demon as well, so he should scale even better than Cusack did. And once again, Chandler just scales better than base Gallon and Demon Mark Derriere, who were already fighting Tarmiel pretty well. Gallon was able to bisect Tarmiel. Ludichel, especially in his true body, is actually pretty darn monstrous, but one of the 2 things could happen. Either it basically follows canon, where Monspeed and Derriere get slapped around and then they have to turn into Endura, but with no Elizabeth or Archangels to help revert them, Ludichel just dies. Another option is that the weaker Archangels lose, and then Chandler and Cusack roll up, and the 4 commandments and the 2 highest level demons gang up on the Archangels. And if Ludichel somehow lives that, Chandler and Cusack fuse and the commandments play support. Ludichel would only accidentally empower the original demon if he's not dead by 2 Endura, which is more likely to happen considering how the pace of the battle would go and how quickly Monspeed and Derriere turned around and realized that, nope, to get rid of Ludichel, we have to transform. Elizabeth versus Zeldris is actually a super interesting matchup that I may talk about in a separate video, because Holy Wartime Zeldris does not have a commandment to affect her with, but he still does have the Demon King's power, and that will negate everything Elizabeth throws at him magic-wise. She may have the speed advantage, but honestly, that may be a bit unlikely at full power for Zeldris, considering he literally took on the one. The one was the necessary ingredient for stopping an Omnis Nebula Zeldris, and Zeldris' swordsmanship is declared to be the fastest in his entire world, and he was able to match Flash, Margaret Body Ludichel while holding back, and then while heavily fatigued and motivated, he was able to blitz an afternoon Mael, who is most likely stronger than even Goddess Elizabeth. I can give characters like Elizabeth a lot of credit, as she was compared in importance to Mael, Ludichel, and Meliodas, even though it is a very wide scale, and she did fight with her mom and the Demon King at the same time with Meliodas. But we have to realize that fight was a merciless stomp in their parents' favor, and while Elizabeth was able to fight the Demon King better in the future as a human, which is weaker than her goddess body, said Demon King was weaker and far from full power with 0 magic at all. However, with Zeldris negating all her magic by simply existing before her, having access to the deadly vortex known as Omnis Nebula, I have little faith that Elizabeth will truly be able to defeat Zeldris. I'm not sure if there's really anything she can do against Omnis Nebula, but let's give her the benefit of the doubt and say she can. I think she'd last pretty well. She just hit a wall when it comes to massively damaging him, because Elizabeth isn't really a physical fighter. I'd say it's more a stalemate, since Elizabeth in her goddess body would be quite threatening, even to Zeldris, thanks to all her supposed statements. So what I could easily see happening is Zeldris sort of just stonewalling her and possibly stalling long enough for any of the remaining commandments, highest ranking demons, Knights of Black, and whatever fodder is remaining to come gang up on her. Then she loses, because no offense to Elizabeth, she's not defeating any of the Demon's Realm's strongest, especially if... No, not any. She can defeat some of the Demon's Realm's strongest. She can't defeat all of them, especially if Endura, Monspeed, and Derriere are in play. In that case, she kind of just loses, because we've seen what happens when Goddess Elizabeth tries to fight those 2 on her own. She almost lost and needed support to not accidentally lose and die off to him. And if we're being completely honest, because like this is all out war scenario, like this is the big battle that both sides are waiting for. They're willing to do anything to win. If worse comes to worse for Zeldris, he can go Endura. And if Zeldris goes Endura, I'm sorry, Elizabeth is dead. Elizabeth wasn't even able to defeat Endura Monspeet and Derriere without help from two other Archangels and a whole lot of struggle. Endura Zeldris, absolutely monstrous. That's a form that, that's honestly a wonder how much stronger that would make him and who would be able to stop him outside, like his dad, the Supreme Deity, and maybe Meliodas. Now, speaking of Meliodas, the final big fight that we have to talk about would be Mael versus Meliodas. And Prime Meliodas with love is a monster in every sense of the word. So, I always find this one feat crazy every single time I think about it, but remember, Meliodas, in Demon Mark, while in his prime, scared true body Ludishal so much that he demanded the other two Archangels come support him against this one Demon Mark Meliodas, who probably doesn't even have his commandment. This Meliodas is a match, if not above, 3 of the 4 Archangels at once, and he's not even anywhere near full power considering he has Assault Mode in the back. Then realize that this Meliodas no longer has his commandment of love as he relinquished it to the Demon Clan the moment he turned, or at least that's what it seemed like. And then realize, on top of that, that Meliodas in base was able to ignore his natural weakness to light and reach through a barrier to grab Elizabeth that was set up by the Archangels. So even Mael's super effective nature of his magic wouldn't kill Meliodas immediately. And remember, Meliodas with love is amped, ruthless, and his power is constant. Basically, if Meliodas survives the one Mael, if the fight even drags on that long, he'd easily slap around an afternoon Mael. Even a heavily fatigued modern Zeldris was able to blitz and disable afternoon Mael. The fact that these two have fought before, it's very likely the whole reason that neither of them killed the other is because Mael ran, or he was forced to retreat. And you could argue this is a bit of headcanon, and you could easily say that the reason that fight concluded the way it did was Meliodas running from the one Mael, but it doesn't seem that way. Because let's think about it. Do demons seem like the kind to run? Nah, they go out all out till their final breath. Goddesses, they run like cowards or cry for help every single time they're in danger. Ludishel, Nerobasta, even Bellion points out that the goddesses all cry out for someone to save them. Demons, they sort of just roll up ready to die for what they believe in, and they have no fear. Mael versus Meliodas would obviously be the most wild fight in this entire hypothetical war. They are considered equals, they are both massively powerful, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Meliodas, and I think he would win. Now, why? Well, as I said, when you think about it, Meliodas was confident in taking on 3 Archangels with just his base Demon Mark and possibly no commandment. Then he has Assault Mode and the Love Commandment amp. And while it's unlikely, worse comes to worse, and Meliodas activates his true power, and everyone who's not on his side dies. And let's be real, we've seen what happens when Meliodas and Mael fight in the side chapter of the Prisoners of the Sky movie, which is canon. According to Bellion, Meliodas repelled Mael in regular Demon Mark with no Assault Mode nor Destroyer power. Word of the day, repel means to drive or force an attack or attacker back or away. That means that Prime Meliodas, while possibly not even going all out, scared away a Prime Mael with Sunshine. Now, while we don't know what time of day it was when this fight occurred, it obviously wasn't freshly morning, nighttime, or late in the afternoon. So what does this mean? It means this Meliodas will probably win if he's going for the kill. We've seen weaker versions of Assault Mode Meliodas dominate variations of Escanor's the One in Escanor's backstory. Then we have Zeldris' statement about Meliodas being able to defeat the One if he was taking him seriously. And we know Meliodas, even in his ruthless prime, loves to play with his food. So with all of that in mind, I'm going to give the slightest of edges to Prime Meliodas in the fight with Mael. If Meliodas lets the fight drag on to the One, he may lose, he may just be matched. It's up in the air. Even if Meliodas even if Meliodas is overpowered by the One, by the time Mael is finished, even if he can finish Prime Meliodas, who's at full power, he's growing weaker, and the rest of everyone watching the fight will stall for Meliodas to heal up or gang up on the fatigued Mael. And when you think about it, it's much more likely that Meliodas just scared Mael away, and Mael was actually close to his peak, because Mael was in the Demon Realm. No, Mael wasn't in the Demon Realm. Mael was chilling in the Celestial Realm where Bellion was invading and hunting down goddesses, and Mael popped up, had no idea Meliodas was there, was shocked when Meliodas showed up, and was apparently scared off. And Mael just directly says, "What is this darkness that can stand up to my son?" So it's heavily implied that he just was he was not prepared for Meliodas. And Meliodas did what, like I said, he wasn't even going all out. He was not in assault mode. He did not activate his true Demon King power just yet. He was kind of just chilling there, coming to execute some goddesses. And he was very, very, very close to it. It's just that Mael ran. He probably ran all the way back, and he probably ran all the way back to the Supreme Deity when you think about it, because I'm pretty sure no one else in the realm, in the entire celestial realm, would have been able to stop Meliodas except for the Supreme Deity. Because note, since the fact that Meliodas appears to be stronger than Ludichel wasn't confident in taking on Prime Holy Wartime Meliodas and just Demon Mark on his own. He wasn't confident in that. This is the same true body Ludichel that's able to pretty handily handle a base original demon while only in his astral body. This true body Ludichel was not prepared to fight this Demon Mark Meliodas. And Ludichel states that yes, Mael at some points in the day is stronger than him. For the most part, Ludichel is the superior. But when he hits that like 1 minute, or who knows, maybe like that 30-minute span from 11:30 to 12:30, Mael's the strongest. You kind of have to assume that Meliodas, who's consistently shown above this Ludichel and proves to have more power in the back in case he needs it, it's most likely that Meliodas would take it, especially if he is actually going for the kill. Because a lot of people are going to be like, well, in character, Prime Meliodas plays around with his food, and that is true. He really, really does. But if he does, he may pay the price. He may pay the price and get slapped. But we know Meliodas, like, the one isn't actually invincible. We know that, and we have seen evidence that proves that Mael will run from Meliodas if given the chance, because he did. He was flat out repelled by Prime Meliodas. And remember, there are no leaders in this fight, so it's not even like Mael can run to the Supreme Deity. This is a fight to the death. So most likely Prime Meliodas does beat Prime Mael. If we get to the one, we never seen the one Mael. We know it should most likely exist because that's how Escanor's powers work, and they're the same grace is the same magic that Escanor and Mael have, and we know that the one is exponentially stronger than any earlier form. But really, it's a 50-50 shot. Like I'm thinking about it as I'm talking about it, and if you want to say that it was morning when Mael encountered Meliodas before high noon, and Meliodas scared away Mael, then you could imply Meliodas survived the one for Mael. If you want to claim it was afternoon, then Mael was constantly getting weaker, and it makes sense that he would run. It's a coin toss. It's literally it's a 50-50 for what you want to believe on that. I'm personally leaning towards the side of Meliodas just repelled a full power Mael, only because there's just so much evidence to support that. Zeldris is confident that Meliodas in his prime, in just assault mode, modern Meliodas could defeat the one Escanor. You have visible proof of a weaker assault mode Meliodas, like drastically weaker assault mode Meliodas, beating up a version of the one Escanor in the past. Then you have Zeldris, who is always talking about how he's weaker than Meliodas, even with the Demon King's power. He's able to blitz around. He's able to fight on par with and then proceed to blitz an afternoon Mael. So there's just so many things that seem to lean towards Prime Meliodas taking the fight over Mael, even if it's just barely. I still think it would be an incredibly wild fight, but I will give the slightest of edges to Meliodas. But overall, let's just quickly recap what it's looking like. So, Goddess fodder versus Demon fodder. Goddesses win until the idle strong demons drop down and kill all the Divine Lance Corporals. Sorrow versus Cusack. Tarmiel versus Chandler. Ludichel versus the Four Commandments. Takes a while, but Endura Area Mount Speed gives it to the Commandments. Elizabeth versus Zeldris, mostly inconclusive until assistance arrives if Elizabeth can survive Omnis Nebula, and that's a very big if. Mael versus Meliodas, Meliodas very high difficulty. And note, this is the result with me just playing nice with the Goddess Clan and not assuming that all the high level commandment tier demons aren't randomly ganging up on the weaker archangels and slowly moving up the ladder. That the Gothers aren't mind hacking people, that Grey Road isn't randomly disabling people's senses, that Melascula isn't just running around and sealing people in orbs that only max power Zeldris and Meliodas can bust out of, that demons aren't soul ripping at the first opportunity, that Zeldris doesn't just lunge in with Omnis Nebula and kill a whole ton of people, that Meliodas himself doesn't just drop a wave of purgatory fire over the entire army of the Goddess Clan, killing most of the archangels with that amount of power and probably heavily damaging Elizabeth. Remember, the Goddess Clan's strongest fighter, Mael, was scared away by Prime Meliodas. So even if all else fails, if somehow all the demons lose to their respective Goddess Clan foes, a Prime Meliodas, after beating Mael, could hypothetically still win against the remaining fatigued Goddess Clan, especially if he actually goes all out, deep into assault mode, and especially if he activates his true magic, which is said to surpass the Demon King. Demon Clan wins, hands down. Now, how do I think the battle would actually go? I could quite literally see this being like the most epic wartime experience just to watch. Like, actually just sitting back and watching it would be amazing, because you would have the goddesses probably realizing what I've seen and realize and being like, we are outnumbered, we can not hold back, and they just go off. Like, you have Tarmiel summoning entire sections of ocean, just dropping and trying to drown demons. You got Tarmiel whipping up entire sections of the ocean, just dropping it down on demons. You got Sariel whipping up massive tornadoes, trying to erase demons. You were having Ludisho blitzing all over the battlefield, trying to take out as many people as he can, as quickly as he can. You're going to have Mael just throwing greatest sons everywhere, trying to eliminate as many demons as he can. But then you're going to have the Demon Clan just responding in kind. You're probably going to have Endura, Monspeed, and Derriere pop up immediately, because they're probably going to know off rip, oh shoot, the Goddess Clan is not going to be holding back. They're going to rip out their hearts, they're going to go Endura, and they're just going to lunge, tearing through Goddess Clan members, tanking all the attacks that are coming from things like Ludishel and Tarmiel and Sariel, and blitz bodying them. Then you're probably going to have Zeldris, who's going to be like, all right, Meliodas, you go take Mael, I'm gonna go take care of Elizabeth. And they're just going to rush over, and the fights are going to begin. And the fights are just going to be absolutely insane. I could see, like, Mael throwing out a greatest son right at Meliodas, and Meliodas is just going to yell, full counter, bam! He's going to go right back at Mael. He's going to have to just tank it, or disperse it, or try and avoid it. Meliodas is going to be up in his face. It's just going to be a fight to the photo finish, honestly. I try to describe it as neatly and cleanly as I thought it could possibly go, like what matchups there would be. But no, it's most likely just going to be attack after attack after attack after attack. Like, the lower tier commandments are going to realize their place really, really fast, and they're either going to have to go all out from rip or just start hacking people. Like, you're probably going to have Dol Gother rear right lighting everything he can hit. You're probably going to have original Gother devising some sort of plan and strategically firing off shots into, like, archangels to make sure that they don't accidentally take out too much of the army. You're probably going to have Melascula attempting to seal beings away as quickly as possible. In Trunks, you're going to have Gallon running around with his halberd and just dominating, slicing people apart. Like, it would just be amazing to witness what this fight would be. And I feel like out of the bloody carnage, a lot of the fodder is just going to get destroyed just by sheer repercussions of the big dogs fighting. Like, can you imagine you have, like, say the two weaker Archangels, say Sariel and Tariel, are just, like, up annihilating entire chunks of the Demon Clan. Like, the commandments are rolling up, like, ready about to go fight, and then, like, Chandler and Cusack pop up and just like, nah, we got this. They lunge in, and either they lunge in and just immediately slap around the Archangels, as they probably would, or they lunge in, fuse, and then attack. So they're just passively growing stronger with Crisis. And then you have, like, the commandments just realizing, we got to coordinate, because we ain't fighting any of the strongest on our own. So, like, then while Zeldris and Meliodas are taking on Mael and Elizabeth, you're going to have, like, Endura, Monspeed, and Derriere just charging in and absolutely running in and slapping Ludishel, probably just attacking everything. And then that's where like the Endura transformation comes with a major cost, because they're gonna be attacking everything, but the Demon Clan is mostly gonna be fine. Like Meliodas will most likely just be like either full countering whatever random attacks they throw his way or dodging just fine. Zeldris is gonna be immune to all magic. It's gonna be the Commandments, and the lower tier demons are gonna be like, whoa, alright, y'all go handle that. We gonna back up. Because Galen, the moment he saw that Endura, Monspeed, and Derriere were about to be a thing, he grabbed Fraudred and was just like, we are leaving right here, right now. And I feel like, just like in canon, the Archangels just wouldn't be ready. Like, no one was prepared for the Endura transformation when it happened. And to be fair, it's for a good reason, because it was slapping around True Body Ludishel. And note, that is freshly transformed. The Enduras simply grow stronger as time passes. It's like a passive sunshine amp where they will just keep growing and growing and growing in power. And they freshly transformed are already dominating who is most consistently the strongest Archangel. Easily. And it just goes to prove that in terms of resources, raw power, the fighting caliber of the Demon Clan just massively outdoes the Goddess Clan. It's literally just not a fair fight to watch, because if Meliodas keeps Mael distracted, what could end up happening is Chandler could cast True Night and Mael wouldn't be able to have time to dispel it, because he'd be fighting a doubly powered Meliodas. He'd be fighting a doubly powered Zeldris. All the demons would suddenly just roar up twice as strong, and then you have them fighting off against, because remember, Sunshine doesn't passively dispel Chandler's True Night. He literally makes it so dark outside that he blocks out the sun. So if he does that and Mael doesn't have the time to disperse with a sun of his own, like actually creating a sun that's powerful enough to disperse all that darkness, then the demons are just going to get more powerful. He's going to have to deal with an even stronger Meliodas. Elizabeth is going to have to deal with an even stronger Zeldris. And I could honestly see that Elizabeth versus Zeldris would be like obviously it'd be like the second most interesting fight to watch, because any of the Endura versus the Archangels is pretty much a stomp unless you're Mael. And even if you're Elizabeth, the Endura are going to give you a good run for your money. So I could literally see the two weaker Archangels just they get killed by like Endura Monspeed, just as like they were about to be in canon until Elizabeth came in and saved them. And then Ludishel would probably getting slapped around by Derriere, and Elizabeth would probably try to go and help and turn her back to Zeldris and may end up dead, or like caught off guard and taking ludicrous amounts of damage. And then Zeldris is just gonna execute her. And even if Zeldris is having trouble with Elizabeth, Meliodas could just take one look at Mael and be like, "You ain't enough for me, bro." And especially if Mael is in the state where he's weaker than Ludishel, Meliodas would just be like, "I'm gone, bro." He go like slap away Elizabeth, because you could argue like, oh, depending on the time Meliodas is talking about in character, he wouldn't want to attack Elizabeth. But this is before, I'm talking about like prime ruthless Meliodas, who didn't learn any emotions just yet. He was there for the job and getting it done. So I could easily see him disabling Elizabeth instantly, because it's just what he would do. And it's what all the Demon Clan would do. They're ruthless. They are ruthless warriors, and that's what makes them so dangerous. And that's legitimately how I think the fight would go. It would start off as this like massive cataclysmic event with these characters throwing around their separate dimension tiers of these like outer dimensional tiers of power, like not that far, but like their country level tiers of power, just throwing it around for the entire first half of the fight. Like I said, the fodder would just be dying left and right. That's just what would occur. Everyone would just be falling left and right. And then once you get down to the serious nitty gritty, that's when Chandler and Cusack, they're going to hit their true forms immediately. Duramon, Speed, and Derriere, they're going to pop up quick. The Commandments are going to start to organize. Gothers, they're going to be mind hacking. And then you're going to have the Goddess Clan trying to play catch up, only to realize that they have mustered, because they won't be able to do anything against Endura Monspeed, Endura Derriere, full power Zeldris and Cusack, who could possibly fuse to the original demon at any moment, since would be their last fight. Then you're gonna have a full power Demon King Zeldris, a prime love fueled Meliodas, 8 other commandments, the 6 Knights of Black. Everyone's gonna be there, and it's just gonna be ganging down one by one. Like, the last person I could legitimately see standing would be Mael and Elizabeth. And the issue is, as strong as a hypothetical one Mael would be, and as strong as Elizabeth is implied to be, they aren't taking that. They are not taking Zeldris, Meliodas, the original demon, or even the halves of him, all the commandments, all the 6 Knights of Black. They aren't taking them all on at once. It would just be too much crazy level of fighter, and the caliber of fighter would just absolutely overwhelm them. That's my view. But however, after that long hypothetical ramble about how cool this fight would be to watch, I could do more in-depth videos on some of these fights, especially Prime Mael versus Prime Meliodas, because I know a lot of people are not going to like what I said about that. A lot of people are going to be like, what? No, Prime Meliodas, Prime Mael stomps Prime Meliodas. I'm just going to have to show them the evidence again. But I seriously do think that the Demon Clan would win. And honestly, I don't typically debate, I don't really argue narrative that much, but it's also pretty evident narratively too that the Goddess Clan was a bit outnumbered and a bit outpowered, because they did literally have to gang up on the Demon Clan with all the other major clans in the world, in the entire verse. And the fact that the Goddess Clan believed that without Mael, they were instantly forced to seal away the demons, even though they had Meliodas on their side by the time Mael died, in quotation marks, Esterosa. All around, the Demon Clan has just access to more raw power, more fighters, more hacks, and comparable, if not greater, speed. That's my view on it. But, real quick, update time. Sorry for the super long absence, mix of stuff in real life, and my editing software decided to die on me, or why I haven't made a video in a minute. I'm glad I'm actually getting requests, but I'm going to need a bit of your help. Any place where I can get access to the full Bleach manga, the Black Clover manga, and the Magi manga, and any manga you would like me to read and do a versus battle on or scale, please drop it in the comment section below. I want to scale more verses, and I could really use your help with that. And also, if you know any YouTubers that you trust, guys that you know scale, recommend them to me. I like to learn, I like to hear other people's opinions, and it could really help me out, because I know you guys watch other power scalers. So please, drop them in the comment section too. And also, one last thing, drop your opinions on this fight down in the comment section. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I missed something when it comes to scaling both sides, the Goddess Clan and the Demon Clan? I know this video isn't the longest video I've made, which seems like it should be, so I probably missed some reasoning, and I'm always happy to hear more. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, please. And if you want to go all the way, hit that notification bell. Finally, this is that guy with the pencil, writing off.